EA Sports officially confirmed they will have college football next year, 2024. You have a chance, if he's still there, to play with his son in college. I know you're big, Doc. I remember you were big in getting a coach. So what school would you start very small now to make your head coach go big?
So I gotta see what the rankings are for the schools, because I always start out at like one of the lowest. I always start as a 1-star.
All About the Balls podcast with Mark Davis, Chris Meinhardt, Luke Rule, and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Welcome to All About the Balls podcast. I'm your host, Mark Davis, joined alongside my great co-host as always, Chris Meinhardt and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Boys, it's going to be something a little different tonight. We might talk sports. We might not talk sports. It's just the last episode before I take my little vacation, and we're just going to kind of right off the brain, talk about what's going on in life. So, Chris, start us off, my friend. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Mark. I mean, I'm just chilling. Wife's here. Kids sleep. My wife's friend, John, shout out to Gage and John. They just got back from deployment, so she came down to visit. So we've just been hanging out with friends, chilling. Excited for some preseason.
Yeah, some preseason coming up. Hey, week 2, Chris. Week two.
Oh, week
Doc,
2 already passed. This is future us.
Yeah, it's true. By the time you guys get this, part of week 2 will be done. You may have the Monday night game still. But Doc, how are you doing? I know the White Sox just got walked off. I'm sorry, my friend. My Yankees are also struggling too. So me and you are on the same page. The Yankees are below 500. This is the first time in a very long time, I think since 1995. So, Doc, how are you doing?
Mark, you didn't have to bring up that personal bit right there.
Who'd you guys lose to, at least?
Yeah, it's not important. All right, it's not important. All right, we're in the future. So after today's game's actually the White Sox won. Okay, because we're in the future. All right. But I don't really want to talk about who we lost to.
To the Cubbies!
Not the Cubs.
Not the real Chicago team.
Not the real ones.
Damn.
You know what, Mark? The Mets are in the midst of a fire sale, and they're the real New York team right now, okay?
I mean,
dude, did you see
they're not.
Did you see the Mets are trying to – I don't know if y'all follow Barstool, but the Mets are trying to cancel Frank the Tank. Do y'all follow Barstool?
Oh yeah, he's the loud guy that's always like. Yeah, I don't like that
he's
guy.
He's the big heavy set one. He's funny as fuck though. I love him.
He has his moments. I'm just not a Barstool guy. I don't know. I'm not a Dave guy, to be honest with you. I think it's cool he's uncensored, but just not a fan.
Did y'all ever see who Ronnie Woo Woo was?
The name sounds familiar.
Ronnie Woo Woo was like the go-go man for the Cubs. There was a whole way back when MySpace was a thing. Remember? There was a whole fucking anti-Cubs MySpace up, and it was just a whole lot of Ronnie Woo-Woo and people sliding through the troughs at Wrigley in the men's bathrooms. But it was a lot of Ronnie Woo-Woo talking about him giving blowjobs because he was missing like his front couple teeth.
Do you remember the days of MySpace where you had to like code your like?
Oh my God, the work that had to go in. And the internet was so bad back then that any little thing that you did would like cut it down, and it would take like 20 minutes to load it. Yeah. Like if it took less than 5 minutes to load your page was shit.
You had music on there. You had your top friends. Dude. Why aren't you why am I not your top? Why am I not your top 5? What's going on, dude?
Oh, dude, that was the best. I when I wanted to piss somebody off, I would expand my top to like 64 or 120, whatever the max was, and still not put that motherfucker on there just to piss him off. I remember I had the fucking Family Guy, Where's My Money skit on there, like when that first came out.
Yeah.
Like that was the shit. I found a way to code it so you'd have like 3 different songs back when you couldn't do that. Oh, dude, it was wild.
That's the shit we worried. The shit we worried about though back then. That's fucking. I'm thinking about it now.
I think that MySpace top friends and probably when you could see your top friends on Snapchat probably caused a lot of breakups.
Snapchat was dangerous.
Absolutely.
Yes. Why is your best friend this person, huh? Like, I don't know.
you Snapchatting this girl? Oh, man, I don't even know who
the
that
only
is.
thing the only thing dangerous about Snapchat now is if they don't have the red heart next to their name. That is the only thing, because they're like, well, why aren't we best friends with each other? Why am I your best friend, or you're my best friend, but I'm not yours? That's the only dangerous part now. Is that
you
one
send
emoji.
me shit, I don't send you nothing back. All right?
Yeah,
I don't
like,
look
well,
at Snapchat. God
like,
damn
who
it.
you snapping? But God.
Doc has Snapchat on his government phone. Air Force, check his phone.
On
Check his
TikTok, Snapchat, all of it. Yeah. No, and I did, and it was crazy. Like, I make jokes now, right? Because I like to go retro, and I make a joke, and somebody's like, "Oh, hey, you want some rum?" And I'm like, "Nah, man. Me and Captain ain't top 8 on MySpace no more." And they're like, "What?
What are you talking about?"
What?
They're like, man, that's also what AOL was big too. Like, where people like, I gotta get home, and I got instant message so and so.
Yes.
The fucking dial-up
My going away, like when we do going away speeches, or like when I PCS, or like when we're leaving a deployment, everybody's like, yeah, hit me up on this. We'll play games, we'll do whatever. And I'm like, I don't have a Facebook or Instagram, but I do have an adult friend finder and AOL Instant Messenger. So you can hit me up on those.
You got that farmersonly.com too, or what?
Yeah, for a little bit. I had Ashley Madison until that shit blew up. I had to get out of that, obviously.
Hey, I watch Yellowstone. There's some decent farmers, you know. Well, you got Tater. Tater.
That's her.
Tater. God, the first time she was on the show, and she's like, "You shot motherfucker," and they're like, "What is she saying? Is that Texan?" I'm like,
the final season's coming out pretty soon, right?
I don't know, man. Like Kevin Costner, I don't even know. Like, I think it's Costner's last season, but I think they had it 1923 or 1883 was still going. I'm not sure.
You talking about Yellowstone?
Yeah, like, dude, they're like, you said my name is Peter? You fucking. I was like, yo, this fucking. She was pretty good in the show. Like, I thought that was a good character. I mean, the whole show. I mean, Rip's the guy though. Rip's my boy. Like, I fuck with Rip any day of the week. But
never seen.
Yeah, I mean, Yellowstone. I believe it is the last season for Costner. At least I don't know if it's the official last season though, Chris. I know I was behind you, and Luke were way ahead of me, and I caught up quick. I know. I shot up fast. I didn't watch the spinoffs though. I never watched the spinoffs.
September 17th is when part 2 comes out.
Jesus, I have so much stuff coming on September. I have football. I watch the Power series, the 50 Cent show that he helped create, and yeah, now Yellowstone. I'm gonna be a busy September with football and shit.
Busy, man.
I am on rewatching Ballers because I never finished it, so I'm back on making another attempt through that.
Never got into it. I never started it actually.
That show is pretty dope.
They just moved that to Netflix.
They did. The funny thing is, I just started it like a week ago on HBO Max, and then I literally, like, wife went up to bed, put the TV on for her, got her Seinfeld on like she watches every night, and like as soon
She's
as I opened up
Seinfeld
Netflix.
person?
Well, we both are. But she watches, like, she gets on this binge where she watches like the same show because she'll just let it run through because she just falls asleep. So it's one of those where like you go through all 9 seasons, but you really watch like 3 episodes in total between the 5 minutes of each episode that you watch before you fall asleep. So she just cycles through that. And then the nice thing about that is it's like every episode is brand new because you never really watch a full episode.
Yeah.
But no, I turned it on for her and I saw that Ballers was up there and I was like, wow, I'm actually shocked because this is like, it was an HBO exclusive. Yeah, original. Yeah. So, that was one of their selling points. And I think now that it's just so far like beyond production because the show's over now. And I think they're just like, hey, nobody's subscribing just for this show anymore. So I started it. Yeah, I started it in 2017 on a deployment because they had it on our little local streaming thing on the deployment. And I got the first couple seasons.
I forgot we were deployed the same time, 2017.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
So I got that. Yeah, because you came back with Jones on that one.
No. I came back and I moved in with Jones.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I met Jones like a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
I deployed the dorms, and Jones hits me. Was like, "Hey, you want to be roommates?" I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, why not, dude?"
So I was on this little fob, and Com set up this streaming thing, and I started watching it, and I never finished it. So I came back home and never got back. I didn't have HBO Max, so I never finished watching it. And then my wife's, my mother-in-law has it, so I started watching again. And God, that show is like, The Rock played very well in that show. I'll give him that. Yeah. What's the dude that plays Joe? I don't remember his name. He's the dude from I think Hot Tub Time Machine.
Something like that. Too bad we don't have Luke. He's good on the cast.
Yeah, Luke would already be all over the cast right now.
Yeah, he can't tell shit about football, but he can tell you who played in fucking some 1960s sitcom that nobody's ever heard of that aired for 3 episodes. But Shout out to you, Luke. We do miss you, buddy. I'm just joking, man. We do miss you though.
Next week though, we'll be back next week. The 20. Hey, breaking news! 24th of August, the full squad is back, baby. I'm back from vacation and
we'll have all 16 balls.
You're not on leave, really?
No, I am, but I'll be here. I just got to burn through my user lose. I'm on leave next week, and then I go back to work for a week, and then I'm off like the entire month of September because I have like 90 days of vacation.
Just a side note, breaking news: the 24th of August. The 24th of August, the Sack House, the boys in here will be giving our college playoff predictions for the fucking Final Four and our championship. So start studying. I already told Luke. Yeah, we're gonna have that coming up the next episode that we go live in the Sack House. But speaking of shows, Doc and Chris, Hard Knocks, shit. They start off good to me. A magic show. Episode 2 starting with a magic show. You saw McKeel Hardman, who he picked to win the Super Bowl. Of course, picked the Jets, but he picked the Niners to be in the NFC, winning 31-21. The magician got it right, dude. Chris, I know I was texting you. We played Call of Duty. I watched half the show before we got on, and I was like, dude, you gotta watch it. This fucking Magic man's killing it.
Yeah, I mean, I regret even getting on Call of Duty last night to begin with. That was last night. It was a bad night. Last night was some L's. There were some sweats out there.
Doc would have broke his controller.
I would have probably punched a hole through my fucking monitor.
No, it was sweaty last night. It was bad.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Bad.
I would have been doing. If I was on last night, from what y'all were saying, I probably would not have made the show tonight because I would have been repairing drywall in my basement.
but besides that, though, Hard Knocks was pretty
yeah,
good.
No. I think this was a step. I mean,
100%.
The first episode wasn't bad, but I think this one definitely was a lot better. I know Hard Knocks usually does like they invite like a magician or a mentalist or whatever you want to call them. Usually every episode, but this guy was good. I mean, the goldfish thing, I laughed, I chuckled. I just want to know how the fuck he does it.
Yeah, they said, what happens if they were going to get a giraffe? What are you going to fucking do? Like,
yeah. I mean,
what's great is they're not. I never watched the previous ones, and watching this one, my expectations are so good now for the future shows. They don't talk. These first 2 shows haven't been the small names. It's been all big names. And Aaron Rodgers, I don't care what people say about him. He loves the camera. Like he's fucking loving it. And
yeah, I know. The early reports saying that like Aaron Rodgers wasn't gonna like fuck with the crew or whatever, but like they're deep diving Aaron and just finding out like little stuff about him's cool, like him with the grass, how he always picks up grass and rubs it on his hands. Like that was just a cool little fact to learn about him.
I noticed that in Green Bay, but I didn't.
That's what he's rubbing it on.
I mean, he might be doing the what's that non-drug he calls it?
You talking about the fucking the painkiller, the fucking opioids that he's taking to halftime?
Hey, dude, he don't give a shit. It's Aaron Rodgers, dude.
That man was high as shit after that game.
Watching him with the connection with his one of his former coaches on the Packers, where he called him a fat ass, but like you could tell it was the joking manner. Like he's doing it because the guy had a health problem back in the day, and he wants him to lose weight. And
what did they call Pop-Tarts? Faux tarts or some shit?
Oh yeah. They also called they called the guy that played Sabretooth, I think is his name, from the Wolverine movie. They called him like Jesus or whatever. During the first episode. I mean, Rodgers is killing it. I think Robert Saleh's killing it too. Saleh is almost hyped up as Dan Campbell.
Well, he's got to kill something because he ain't gonna kill in the regular season.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. I think they'll be fine. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited. Maybe I regret not watching Hard Knocks before, but the show's pretty good this year. I mean,
you'll have to go back and watch the Dan Campbell one because that one was hype.
Yeah, I mean, you could just tell he's hype just by watching him talk.
I think that the Jets wide receiver core they got a lot to prove.
Agreed.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, it's like Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson's. I mean, he's not proven yet. Like he's not.
He's the most proven on that offense, on that receiving core.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, but it's Aaron Rodgers.
After 1 year.
But speaking of wide receivers, I'll bring it up now. Ryan Clark.
I'm just saying. Last thing. I'm just saying he couldn't fucking make Allen Lazard good in Green Bay. What makes you think he's going to do it in New York? That's all I'm saying.
Well, but the Jets team is more talented. I mean, yes, they had Devontae Adams, but the last year they were in Green Bay.
No, I'm talking post Devontae. Post Devontae.
Well, yeah, that's because Allen Lazard's not set up to be a number one.
Yeah, it's good too. It's like Chase
He
Claypool.
ain't set up to be a fucking number 2. I'd
No,
take
he
Chase
is.
Claypool over Allen. I think.
No.
Yeah, but I think the
No,
Jets.
you're right. You're right. That might be a
Don't
stretch.
smoke that Bears Coke.
That might be. I might be getting drug tested tomorrow when I go into work.
I do think
after that statement,
I do think
Go
the
make
Jets,
a TikTok dance.
I do think the Jets though are more like especially the tight end room more talented than the Packers had. I was never a big
the
Robert
team
Tonyan
top
fan.
to bottom is more talented. I'm going to give them
But-
that.
And the defense is better too. So like you don't have to sit there and
That's what I'm
and
saying.
get
That's why I
30
said top
points.
to bottom.
So
But the offense,
Because ain't the Lions
offense,
defense.
the offense set up in Green Bay wasn't a tight end offense. Their tight ends were meant for blocking, not pass catching. That's why when you saw Jimmy Graham go to the Packers, he wasn't as good when he was with the Saints. It's because that
And you
offense
just-
isn't made for tight end passing.
and the Packers don't like they'll do what they do in the draft. They don't sign free agents. They don't trade often. So it's like they're not gonna make the extra moves to get someone here to put you over the top. It's like, hey, we're gonna draft these guys, and then hey, you have to do what you have to do.
It
Hopefully
is.
they pan
It's
out.
just crazy to me, like the little effort that they put into building a winning team around Rodgers. Like when you look back, one Super Bowl in Aaron Rodgers' era. I mean, the dude was an absolute monster in Green Bay, and they got one Super Bowl with it.
Yeah.
And this was back in what 20?
That's 2009. That's 2010 season.
2010,
I'm sorry.
2009, 2010.
2000. And if you remember, they were a wild card. They were a road team. They were road warriors. They went.
Yeah,
They went to Philly. They beat Mike Vick.
that was one
They-
against the Steelers, right?
Yep, they blew up Matt Ryan in the Super Bowl. Then they beat the Bears in Chicago when Jay Cutler got hurt and was a bitch for that game. And then they went in
Shocker.
and Jerry's world and like what he normally does, wins in Dallas against the Steelers. But
Jerry's
see.
world.
we'll see. But Doc, I was about to mention though, Chris is juiced up for this one. Isn't Ryan Clark a former LSU Tiger too? If I'm not mistaken.
I think he is.
Yeah, I think he is. But Doc, I know we told you before the show. I was a little busy. I know Chris was, so we didn't really talk much in our chat. So this was an Instagram I shared in our chat with Luke and his brother Wade. And Ryan Clark, former Steeler, also former Commander, but he's a Steeler. You know, he's a Pittsburgh Steeler at heart. You know, that's what you normally when you're a Steeler and you have greatness there, you die blocking yellow. That's just the way it works. We get it. But he came out and he said on NFL Live, I believe it was, Dan Orlovsky was all there and the crew for that show. He said that George Pickens is more talented than Justin Jefferson. And we'll break the clip down right here. This is what it sounded like.
George Pickens is much more talented than Justin Jefferson. Really? Justin Jefferson understands everything about playing the position, stems, leverage. He can catch the football and all kinds of
savant in many
position.
ways.
He's a savant of the position. He had to learn to play the position because he was a two-star, right? So he had to understand it. You had a brother who was the starting quarterback at LSU. George Pickens is an absolute freakazoid.
A monster,
a beast. Like ridiculously talented. He can do every single thing you ask him, and he's mean as hell.
So the one thing I have an issue with is also this clip didn't show it, but he carried on by saying Mike Tomlin apparently said that in Georgia they're surrounded by all this talent, all the 5 stars, Chris. And I get it. Georgia's been talented lately, but don't sit there and act like Jamar Chase wasn't a 5-star and Terrence Marshall hasn't had the greatest NFL career. He wasn't a 5-star neither. Those guys are 5 stars with fucking Terrence or with Jefferson, who was a 2 to 3 star depending on the site you used. And he fucking was the number 2. Sorry, Jamar Chase was a beast, but he fucking balled out. So, you know it is. It's the biasy of being a Pittsburgh Steeler, probably.
Listen. If it pulls up, when you send me this on Instagram, this was me looking at the Instagram. Okay? I cannot fucking believe that Ryan Clark had the nerve to come out and say that George Pickens just wants to be a Pro Bowler, is more talented than JJ.
Hang on. Wait, they saying George Pickens had a brother who's a quarterback at LSU?
No, they're saying Jefferson's brother was a quarterback at LSU.
Oh, okay.
Before Joe Burrow.
Ryan
Chris?
Clark. Yeah, Chris, he knows everything LSU.
I believe he was there before.
Joe. Unless George Pickens' brother has a different last name of Pickens, we didn't.
I've never seen.
I haven't seen a Pickens quarterback for LSU.
I looked it up, and it said this is how unverified it is. It said George Pickens has a brother who allegedly played at Arkansas State.
It was Jordan Jefferson.
Are you saying
he played? George Jefferson played in 08 to 2011.
So you're saying Justin Jefferson had a brother that played quarterback?
Yes, that's what Ryan Clark was saying.
Okay,
so
I thought you
he
said
had to
George
learn.
Pickens.
Yeah, no, they're saying Jefferson's brother played LSU, and he had to learn the game. But I
don't
get it. Doesn't every receiver learn how to play the receiver position?
That's what I'm saying. You got to learn the game because you were a 2-star. It means you were dog shit in high school, buddy. That's what that means. That means
Jefferson's
where it's fucking.
Jefferson was the 2-star though.
So wait, what was the argument then?
So he's saying because Jefferson was a 2-star and had to learn the game a lot more. And don't get me wrong, he knows the game great now. Pickens is a dog, essentially, and he's a freakazoid, is what he said. And because also he was surrounded by a lot of talent in Georgia with Stetson Bennett and all those guys. You know, I forgot the receiver core they had. But wide receiver university, one of the wide receiver universities is LSU. So you're competing with fucking talent. Jamar Chase is one of the most talented receivers that's come out of college in a very long time. And he played with them.
Yeah,
he balled out with
them
too. Yeah, he had more catches than Jefferson the last year together. But Jefferson had better catches.
Jamar did. Like, of course, Pickens isn't going to have the history that JJ has because, Pickens has only been in the league for a year. So, he doesn't have the stats, of course. But still, just look at his rookie year compared to JJ's rookie year. And you can't tell me that JJ set up better in a better offense because he literally has Kirk Cousins as his fucking quarterback.
In his rookie year, he had Thielen, too, who was good.
Let's talk for a minute. George Pickens, in his illustrious college career, because he's such a freak, right? And I'm sure injury played a part in this because the numbers don't make sense with the games. But 2019, 12 games, 49 receptions, 727 yards. 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns is good. 2020 COVID season, 8 games, 6 touchdowns. All right, 513 yards. 2021, 4 games, 107 yards. I'm sure injury played into part of that, but 107 yards in 4 games, injury or not, is dog shit.
But they were also saying that Georgia runs the ball a lot, and which they're not wrong. He's not wrong. Georgia is a hell of a running team, but LSU had Clyde Edwards-Helaire too.
Excuses to justify an argument that you can't. That's what I'm saying. They're making excuses to justify an argument that they can't fucking make. All right, you cannot sit here and tell me that a dude that has played 1 year with 800 receiving yards in the NFL and 4 touchdowns is better than a guy that's proven himself at almost 2,000 receiving yards last year? Get the fuck out of here.
I'll tell you right now, the 2019 Georgia Bulldogs did not have a talented receiver core at all. He was probably the talented most receiver on that team. I'm looking at their 2020 right now, and once again, he was the best receiver on the team. What I'm going to tell you? You weren't surrounded by 5-star receivers.
You know what I'm going to tell you? All right, since we're talking Pittsburgh, Chase Claypool had more yards in his first 2 years, each of his first 2 years, than George Pickens. So George Pickens is dog shit.
I'm not saying he's dog shit. Don't get me wrong. He makes phenomenal catches, and I think he's going to have a good career. I'm not saying he's going to have a stud career, but to sit here and say that
the college, if you're going to come out here and say he's better than Jefferson, he's dog shit. He ain't better than Jefferson.
You can't use college anymore. You guys are in the professional league now. It's different if you're arguing them in college together.
His college numbers weren't even good.
I get it.
8 touchdowns rookie year, 700 or 800 yards, whatever was good, but that's it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I do admit Georgia is a run first team. That's true, but you can't sit there and say you're surrounded by other 5-star receivers because that's not true.
No,
Jefferson was surrounded by Terrence Marshall and Jamar Chase. So I said Marshall hasn't had a great NFL career, but he was a 5-star coming out of high school. So I just think it's him sticking up for the Steelers like he always does, and he's a Pittsburgh boy now. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Ryan Clark's about to get that weekly shout out like Colin Cowherd.
That take is a Colin. Yeah, that's up there, man. That's a bad one. I don't know.
That's some dumb shit Colin Cowherd says.
Chris was not happy about it. Chris was not happy when he said we're ripping this guy a new one.
Yeah, no, I was just shocked when I read it.
And he's an LSU boy too. So sit here.
He's from Louisiana too.
Yeah, but let's talk about receivers then. So Jamar
LSU receivers.
Here we go. Jamar Chase in the headline too. He mentioned his Mount Rushmore boys, and he had Calvin Johnson, Jerry Rice. Okay, respectable two names. I can respect Calvin Johnson. He's not on mine, but I get it. Now, if you're talking about most talented, he probably was more talented than every other receiver. Just didn't have the length of the career. But he also had Antonio Brown, who had a good stretch for a little while. And then, he put fucking Cooper Kupp on his list. He's like, he's a Triple Crown winner. Okay, well, he had 3 good years. Like, does that make you one of the best receivers of all time? He's not even the best receiver in his fucking generation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, throwing Adam Thielen on there probably shot the gun too early for that one. But I mean,
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp, that's what I said. What did I say? Adam Thielen?
Adam Thielen, yeah. Wrong one.
Jesus. The wrong wide receiver.
Yeah, wrong one.
But yeah.
But no, I mean, I agree with Doc what he said. I mean, T.O. and Randy should be on that list. Jerry's Jerry. I mean, like, you have to have Mount Rushmore.
If you have a Mount Rushmore of wide receivers without Jerry, there's only 2 explanations to that, right? One is being you are seriously under the influence of something and you need to be in an institution. The second reason would be that your name is Colin Cowherd and you have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Even Colin will put Jerry probably on that list. I don't think he's even that dumb for that list.
Yeah.
At least. I don't know. I
mean, who was second again?
He had Jerry, Calvin.
That's right.
Antonio Brown. I mean, I get Jerry, and I'm going to go T.O. and Randy. I think T.O. is better than Randy. I always did.
How you don't put Antonio Brown up there with the same mental bullshit that T.O. had, and T.O. had better numbers, better longevity, better overall everything, and you're going to put Antonio Brown over T.O.?
I can't really think of my fourth receiver,
to be
honest.
mind.
I mean, I'd probably have to go with like a Larry Fitz or something like that. I don't know, man. Like,
Larry Fitz is hard. No, I'm telling you, Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson retired too soon, but his numbers, if he played a career, he'd have been there. But what he did.
But see, Barry retired the same amount of time, just about, and he was the leading rusher in the NFL when he retired. So
I'd have him. Yeah, I'd have Calvin's him on my top running backs.
Calvin's like top 26 in the receivers like numbers of all time.
Yeah, but you got to take season averages. You know what I'm saying? That's like you got that one good. Take baseball. You got that one guy that comes up, hits 30 homers for 3 years, 40 homers for 3 years. Take Jose Bautista, dog shit fucking player, career like 230 hitter. He had 50 homers a couple of years, and he was highly regarded in the league, and then quickly fell off after that. You got to take the season averages. Calvin Johnson is what his ability was in carrying that Lions offense. I mean, Jay Cutler could have connected with him. You know what I'm saying? That's how good he was. Jay Cutler could have made plays with him. So I'm no doubt taking Jerry Rice. I'm putting T.O. at number 2. Randy at number 3 and Calvin at number 4. And then I think I'm putting Larry Fitz at a close 5 behind Calvin.
He's that fit. Yeah, if they decide to make a 5th president, like essentially, yeah. Okay.
No, I like Larry Fitz. I like Larry Fitz at that 5.
It's just hard. Like I don't know. Like I always find the 4th receiver to be my hardest receiver.
Because the first couple are usually easy, and then you got to start nitpicking. Then you got to start fucking.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's tough.
Field's coming down. We only got 4 on Mount Rushmore.
Because Chris Carter had one of the best pure hands of all time. Like people forget that, and he had stats too. Like
so did OBJ. But OBJ.
But Chris Carter.
Serious
Chris Carter had a longevity as well that stuck with him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, Odell did say he probably could have been the first receiver to make $200 million in his career. I mean, he's not wrong if he didn't get hurt and he kept playing good. I mean, he probably could have been on that 200.
But injury is that one that fucks you. I mean, Calvin retired early.
It's like Julio. Julio too, man.
Julio's another one. Julio might be my 6th right behind Larry.
When you're saying most talented, like, and I'm not being biased because he's a Falcons fan, but he has everything. He's got the size, the speed, the strength. Like, that's what you want in receiver. You want all 3 of those. And he had good hands, too. He had a couple drops. I mean, obviously not everyone's like Larry Fitz and DeAndre Hopkins' hands.
But Julio is proven. Julio's solid. He's proven. Everybody's got drops, dude. Everybody's got drops. Jerry Rice had drops. Come on. You can't count on a couple of drops. I mean, big moments or not. I mean, everybody's got drops.
Larry Fitzgerald had more tackles than he had career drops. So, I mean, that's a stat I always loved.
But he had drops, right?
Well, yeah. But he also had more tackles than drops. That's impressive. I mean, it's bad that your quarterback's probably giving you the chance.
That's a shot at your quarterback. But yeah, that is impressive. It's a shot at your quarterback for sure.
Yeah. Chris, who's your top four? I mean, me and Doc have a hard time agreeing on the fourth, but who you got your fourth for the Mount Rushmore receivers?
I mean, probably just like, I think you got to have T.O. there, Jerry.
Get out.
I mean,
get out. You're not even going to list Jerry first?
This is no specific order here.
You put some respect on Jerry.
Listen, this is no specific order.
Yeah. We get it. So T.O. and Jerry.
Randy Moss. I mean, he created getting mossed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think you have to throw him there. And then, I mean, fourth, probably like Josh Gordon or Henry Ruggs.
Oh my God!
All right, let me. All right, I'm gonna.
He's got the best prison Mount Rushmore.
He made a couple of good points. All right, my top four receivers. I am going Jerry Rice, T.O., Randy Moss, and Donald Trump.
Jesus Christ. Who was? But speaking of like players, like who was a player like? I always think about like whenever we see like highlights pop up, like who's your favorite like player that doesn't get talked about? Like he was very underrated, just like he was a beast.
Ooh.
Like, but like, yeah, I mean, it always.
I'm gonna go biased here because I mean, I just grew up, loved watching him. I'm gonna have to say Marcus Colston, just because like
I bet him too.
Just a huge receiver for the Saints, big bodied, could catch the ball, great hands. I mean, Drew Brees loved him. And like,
he was good,
but like, yeah.
Did he go to the Patriots?
Unfortunately, I have to say,
that was Brandon Cooks that got fucking leveled, right?
And who, Chris?
Julio Jones.
But he got talked. But he got talked about though. I mean, he wasn't like some guy that. I mean, he was a guy that everyone talked about every single year. I mean, I'm probably gonna go Work Done. I mean, he was a former Buck and Falcon, but Work Done was a fucking freak, dude. Like that. That guy, whew. I mean, he doesn't get talked about enough because he doesn't have the stats, but like he was a beast. I was also watching who was the running? Oh, Fred Taylor was on the Mackey show, and people forget how much of that guy was a freak too back in Jacksonville. Dallas Clark too from the Colts tight end. I used to love watching him play with Peyton and Reggie and Marvin. He was the third target.
I feel like one that's got to go in there, especially for the longevity, because he was talked about but not really like hyped up. I don't think is Frank Gore. Gore was never. I don't think Frank Gore was really ever praised as like a top back in the league, and the guy has been a fucking grinding contributor every year.
He was never the best running back in the league at one time, but he was so consistent.
No, but he was so consistent.
No, that's true.
You knew what you were getting from Frank Gore.
I think many people don't talk about him yet is because he still isn't retired. He's still playing the fucking game.
That's why people should be talking about it at this point. The dude
his son's running the ball now too.
He's the first one. Even it's weird to say this, even with Tom Brady playing as late as he did, but he's the first one to be both an active NFL player and an active AARP card holder.
His son's also, I think, a running back at Southern Miss too.
The guy's drawing pension. The guy's drawing pension while he's playing.
No, man. I thought he was a beast. He was part of that 49ers Super Bowl run with Kaepernick and Jim Harbaugh as the coach.
But even with all that shit, like with Kaepernick and Smith and the receiving, the defense, with everything going on with that 2013 era 49ers team, like Gordon never got credit. He was there, but he never got credit.
No, I agree. And he was part of a dynasty or a good college program too. He came from Miami, when they were producing like just freak athletes in the early 2000s. He was part of like that Jeremy Shockey era and was it Kellen Winslow and all of them? Like they were part of it. Like, I mean, yeah, he was pretty good too, man. And we mentioned his son, Doc, Frank Gore Jr., I believe, Southern Miss, and that brings up to our college. EA Sports officially confirmed they will have college football next year, 2024. You have a chance, if he's still there, to play with his son in college. I know you're big, Doc. I remember you were big in getting a coach. So what school would you start very small now? to make your head coach go big?
So I gotta see what the rankings are for the schools, because I always start out at like one of the lowest. I always start as a 1-star.
Yeah, remember you were Utah State for a while. I remember that.
Yeah, they were a 1-star, and they were a very
Jordan Love.
I remember one dynasty starting with Utah State, and I was like, all right, this doesn't look so bad. This team isn't terrible. We can make this work. We're going to lose initially, but we can make this work. And we got the opening kickoff and fumbled it. And they came back, scored, because you start out as a coordinator. So I was the offensive coordinator. We came back, got the kickoff. We held on to it. And I was like, all right, fresh start. Like, let that one go. We fumbled the next 2 drives in the first rushing play of the drive. First play of the drive for the next 2 drives were run plays. We fumbled both of them. 3 fumbles in the first 4 drives, or the first 4 plays. And that's when I was like, this is going to be rough. Utah State was a staple because you can't start out as like a 1-star team in the SEC, because you're just going to get fucking, you're not going nowhere. You got to go somewhere out west in one of the smaller conferences where you got a chance to win. You're not going to win. My first year with Utah State was typically, because again, you're an offensive coordinator, you don't play defense. So, I got no control over those mistakes, but typically it was like 4-8, 6-6. And then you start turning around, because it's weird as the offensive coordinator, I can do recruiting. So, I start getting the recruits in, but this year I got to see, or the next game that comes out, I got to see what the standings or what the ratings are going to be for the teams. It's going to be a 1-star team. I might bring Twitch back up for it. Because that is one game that I would love to stream on Twitch. Because when I played NC2A back in the day, it was on Heisman. I remember one shootout I had when I finally made it to, I think I was coaching Alabama. And I was playing against... I don't remember who I was.
He's a closet Bama fan, Chris.
Oh, fuck no.
Hey, Chris, there was a time that...
No, I don't remember who I was playing as, but I was playing Johnny Manziel's A&M. And it was literally, I might have been Florida, honestly. I might have been the Gators. But it was literally score for score. Like, I think by the 4th quarter, it was like 56-48 or 56-49, whatever it is. It was literally... Every score was a scoring drive. Like, I just could not stop him. He was the one dude in that game that I could not stop. And I was a head coach at that time. But
do you remember that night, Doc? I know, like, you usually beat me a lot because you had the last one with all, like, the updated rosters finally and the names on there. Remember when we were in your dorm, Chris? Listen, Doc used to get me most of the time. There was a game I fucking played lights out. I had Mariota and Oregon, and I just fucking kept pounding the ball with Marcus. I was like, fuck this, like, it's gonna work. Mariota fucking had like 300-yard rushing yards just on the fucking ground himself.
God, I remember being like little and like I think it was like 09, 08, but like playing as the Gators and then
Tim Tebow,
subbing out Tim Tebow and putting Percy Harvin back there and then just doing like play action rollouts. It was a fucking cheat code.
Was that the one where they did like the you can do all the off the field shit where you could like go and do like the drive by with Aaron Hernandez?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, okay.
Their documentary's coming out too shortly. Swap
Is it on the
Kings.
18th?
I'm not sure.
Or is
I
it
still have
the
to watch the
21st?
one. I still gotta watch one with Manziel.
Dude, that one's good.
I will tell you though, this is a moment that I have been waiting for since 2015 or 2014 when the last NC2A came out. Like, I'm going to tell you, and the engine was so different from Madden. Like, the game was so smooth. Like, I can't, there's not enough time for me to talk about how much I love that game. I look at games that I put so much time into, right? Fallout, Skyrim, like you're talking 200 plus hours. Like, NC2A is easily still the game that I have logged the most hours in, more than Call of Duty, more than all the Call of Duties combined. I have 3 Xbox 360s and 2 copies of the game. One of the Xboxes actually just shit the bed. There's an Xbox right here, actually. I don't know if it's plugged in. It's not. Here's a 360 just for NC2A. That is the kind of dedication that I have. I still play the shit out of that game. I always start out as a coordinator, and I work my way up. Back in that day, ironically enough now, because Tulane is kicking ass, right? A lot of times my first good offer out of Utah State was Tulane, being a head coach at Tulane. So we'll see what happens this year with the new, or next year with the new game coming out.
You ain't going to get that chance because Tulane, like Chris said, right? Tulane on the upcoming, dude. Hey, they are up there.
Tulane's up and coming.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm going to pick my 1-star. I'm going to start like I always do with my 1-star. I'm going to recruit my ass off. And we're going to get some recruits into this school. I'm going to make some promises that I can't fulfill. But that's fine because at the end of the day, I'm going to get winners in and we're going to start winning. We're not going to win a natty like I promised them. But, we're going to get enough. We're going to get enough to at least win the conference. And that's when we're going to start building prestige. And then I'm going to take, the first good offer that I get out of whatever 1-star dog shit school that I'm in.
Sound like prime time.
It won't be Massachusetts, though, because I got to be in a conference.
Sounds like prime time.
Hopefully they have some cross-platform so all three of us can hop in a game together,
Yeah, because Call of Duty dead next year.
Dude, I would love an online dynasty.
Call of Duty's dead next season, man, or next year. Once college football comes out, Madden came out, and a lot of people are saying it's a lot. It's a lot different. Like I say it every year, but I'm probably gonna fucking buy in it, to be honest.
Well, the key is NC2A has to be different than it cannot be the same engine as Madden. That was the one thing that made that game so successful, is that it was not Madden.
Well, Madden's game engine's different now, though.
No, I know, but
I wish EA would just give up the Madden rights and let 2K have their edition of Madden, because I'm getting tired of fucking buying the same game every year.
Isn't it the NFL that? Isn't it
like
the
hockey.
NFL?
Hockey's the same shit. Hockey is the worst one.
But doesn't the NFL have the rights with EA? Isn't it more than just EA in football, or is it?
I'm sure.
NFL signed an exclusive deal with EA, the same that MLB signed an exclusive deal with San Diego Studios.
Yeah, because
the same that
2K used to have
NBA
baseball.
signed an exclusive with 2K.
Well, NBA
actually,
Live
I don't even know that MLB has an exclusive with SDS, because I think 2K just finally realized that they can't stand up to it. And now that SDS moved across all platforms, there's 2K will not stand up to baseball. That, out of all sports games, when you talk about like what you can do in the game and like the career mode, you got Diamond Dynasty, which is better than just a fucking hut. You know what I'm saying? But that is popular. No, I haven't played 2K in a few years, so I haven't seen the most recent updates. But when I look at sports games, the last 2K that I played, even what MLB The Show was when those games came out, no sports game stood up to MLB The Show.
2K looks so realistic though, like it's so scary. Like they were showing Kevin Durant and Steph Curry's like moves. I think yesterday I saw it, and it's like fucking like a mirror. Like you're just watching actual like real life Durant and Curry.
Well, I mean, even like the 2K, like the game mode, like the yard where you just like go stand on the side court and do pickup games. Like, you know how fun that would be for a Madden game to like do street ball and just
they should bring back street.
Field.
That's what they should bring NFL. NFL Street 2 is my favorite. I think it was when Chad Johnson was on the cover. Right? That's where you could like draft a team, like not just like pick your generic, like, Falcons, Saints, Bears, like all those teams. You could pick guys from each team and play with them, like to play against a random team. Stuff like that. That's
you know
like,
what they need to bring back.
Off the wall.
Yeah.
We all know what games they need to bring back. An expanded version, but they need to bring back the Backyard Sports Series.
Hey, that Backyard Baseball was actually fucking good, dude. Hey. On the computer.
What was it, Pablo Sanchez? Dude, that guy was a fucking legend.
And then they put legends in the game too. Like McGuire was on there, Sosa was in there. I think
Randy Johnson was in there, dude.
Yeah. It's like batter.
Shoot up steroids.
Yeah, it was a kid in the wheelchair. I remember the kid in the wheelchair too.
I'll tell you what though, I would like to see them make sports games more realistic, right? Like the opportunity to take PEDs, you're gonna roll the dice and see if you can not get drug tested.
Ooh. Oh god.
You leave your fucking post game presser and you walk out and there's just a harem of chicks waiting to take you to a party or something, you know what I mean? And like, oh, these pictures we're taking to pay them off, or you tell them to go fuck themselves. Like, make this shit realistic. Let people know.
Do you want Calvin Ridley to bet on this next game?
Calvin Ridley's placing bets. What are you going to do? He said he'll give you 50%.
I just still think it's crazy that guys are in the NFL doing that. Like, it's just nuts. Like, they have you guys' like information, and they're going to tell the NFL. I just don't. Well, I don't get it.
Well, you got so much money. Like, why? I get like the
People
whole.
think it's
like,
invisible to them. People think that like I'm
betting-
this important to the league that they don't give a shit.
I don't know. That's and like the guys bringing like guns to the airport. Like, bro, you have a whole like posse of friends that follow you around.
I mean, can't
Gilbert,
you bring it as
yeah,
long
give
as
one
you
of them
like?
the gun.
I mean, can't you bring one as long as like it's
You can
properly?
check it. You
Yeah,
can
like,
check
just
it,
do-
and it has to be declared. It has to everything, but it's not even that. Like Gilbert Arenas had a fucking damn near shootout with a teammate in the Arenas locker room or in the Wizards locker room.
I just listened to the story where I mean, it wasn't gun related, but Pac-Man Jones, he was, I guess, traveling with Shaq, and I mean, he put it on the show. I guess Shaq and finally came out and said why he got arrested in the airport. He was fighting for Shaq because some guy was like pestering him, and Shaq looked at Pac, and Pac said, "Don't worry, I got you, big boy," and he fucking beat the fuck out of that guy. He was like, he would not. He was fucking with Shaq, and Shaq was getting irritated, and he was eating his fucking.
Shaq's 8'16". I mean, what is he?
Yeah,
Fucking pussy?
No, but Shaq's image is a lot different than Pac's. Like Shaq was one of the faces of the NBA, so it's
Oh yeah, no.
He's not
Pac's
trying to
been
get
on
in trouble.
probation since he joined the league.
Pac didn't give a fuck though. Like I mean, and good. That's a good friend right there. Fucking have your boys back. I mean, like you said, Shaq's fucking.
But that's what Chris was saying. You got a
huge.
posse rolling with you. That's what you got a posse for.
Yeah, someone has to.
Exactly.
Someone has to be the instigator, you know. And that was Pac-Man. He loved to fucking do it. But
And
Man.
we are a posse together.
yes, we're missing one though. We're missing one. It's like that
He's
Allen
defending
speech
our
in Hang.
nation.
It's like Allen and Hangover. It's like we were three, and now we're one because we're all together or whatever. It's like yeah, we're missing you, Luke. You know, it's just all. You know, we're the Wolf Pack essentially.
Mm.
Wolf
So,
Pack.
but hey, boys, enjoy the next week because once I get back from Florida and enjoy some sun and bake
Florida.
out there and golf out there in the sunshine, it's gonna be
Bake?
full force. Nah, I ain't doing that. I'll get fucking kicked out. Get kicked out. So, but just enjoy it. Like you guys got your vacation, Chris. You know you got to spend time with your family. Doc, you were in Illinois and Tennessee. Luke's been all over the place, and finally get to do it
Going
because
back.
we're going full force. We got college. We're gonna be fucking lighting up. We're gonna be lighting up NFL. 4 shows a week, boys. 2 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday. So it's getting there. We are at the time of recording. We are 22 fucking days from the NFL season. It gets better and better every day.
We are going to see the Lions fucking drag their balls on Patrick Mahomes in
Yes.
22 days.
And
That
then
is what's
Justin
about to happen.
Fields will beat the Lions, which means that that the Bears are the best team in the NFL.
All I want to
Man.
see is if they beat the Chiefs, I want to see the locker room post game. I want to see Dan
Oh
Campbell
my
and the
I want to see that fucking lion in the
I'm not
locker
gonna lie
room.
though. I feel like it's not out of the question because I know last year the Chiefs started off rough, and I feel like the last couple 2-3 years the Chiefs have started off rough. So I definitely see it happening.
That Super Bowl hangover. It's real.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Chiefs are going to lose,
For
and
losers, it's
the
real.
Lions are going to still not do shit for the rest of the season, and the Chiefs will come back strong, finish like 12-5, 13-4, and they'll be fine.
Well, like I said, we have some big stuff planned for the first few episodes before the show. We already broke the news. The 24th of August, we're going to do college playoff predictions. We will also probably either do the award show for the NFL, who we think is going to win key awards, or our NFL bold predictions. Like I said, so those are coming up. We have our NFL season predictions for the standings where everyone's going to finish. We're literally going to drop all 4 of us. We're going to have like a 10 to 15 minute segment for each of us. We're going to go over who we think is going to be 1 through 32, essentially. The records, the playoff bracket, the worst team. We're going to fucking be it's getting there, boys. We have fucking fantasy drafts coming up. We have 2 of them. We have a dynasty league, and we have our normal redraft league. So I'm fucking pumped, boys. I
That
am.
belt's coming home to daddy.
Well, the belt's already where it belongs, and that's in this sack house over here. And it's probably not
Well,
going
Mark
nowhere.
Davis, I hope you have so much fun in Florida. And I hope you get to do a lot of things. You get to revisit a lot of things that you haven't seen in a while. I just
Yeah,
hope
who
you
knows,
have
like-
fun.
10 years of probably haven't seen things. 10 years, you know. So we'll see how that goes. We'll have a good time, you know. I'm pumped up. Get to have my daughter back, bring her back here one last time to old
Dude,
Washington.
let loose.
I am.
Let fucking loose. Enjoy
Yes.
yourself, but be smart. Don't do nothing dumb, different, or dangerous, and don't add or subtract from the population.
Saturday, I'll be going out with the
Good
family.
safety brief.
Saturday, going out with the family, get a couple drinks down in downtown Tavares, probably the Doghouse, you know.
The Doghouse.
And then Monday, I don't know. We'll see what we're doing. Saturday, I'm going golfing. Sunday, cookout. Monday, probably gonna go to a movie. Maybe get some lunch. I don't know what's happening, Chris.
Hey,
we like
have fun, whatever you do.
We like it. Be safe, buddy.
Luke,
safe travels.
Get back to it. Get back to us safe and sound, dude. You're almost done. I saw that video of you in that little chopper. Get back to us, man.
Playing pretend war, dude. We love it.
I mean, that man's out of everyone here, he's actually spent probably the most time in a dangerous. Chris was there, and unfortunately, he had to return. So, but hey, you did it on purpose. We understand. Hey, gadget, you gotta get out of fucking Afghanistan. So,
I guess so.
But boys, I'm gonna miss y'all. Well, we'll probably texting y'all, but it'd be nice to sit there and watch football without having to take a lot of notes and just sit there and fry my brain. So, shout out to you guys. I said I love you guys. Chris, great to have you here. Gonna miss some Call of Duty for the next week. Doc, same thing. Gonna miss it. I hope you guys enjoy this next 8 days. We'll be back at it. I'm Mark Davis. That's Kriska Meinhardt. Nick and Doc Skirkwins. I'm Mark Davis. Shout out to you, Luke. And this is All About the Balls podcast, and we are out. Thank you for checking out another episode of All About the Balls podcast. We want to thank all of our listeners and supporters of the Sack House. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at the Sack House.